Okay, good morning. I'm Shaketa Redden with Voice Buffalo. Voice Buffalo is under the organization Gamaliel Western New York, which includes Voice Buffalo and NOAH, which is Niagara Organizing Alliance for Hope. So, as they said, and as it says in the bio, I am originally from Buffalo, and I was just thinking while they were speaking, how does organizing connect to all of this, right? So I grew up a few blocks that way on Lemon Street. And what it comes down to is that I don't want my community to be gone, right? So how does this work? What is community organizing? It's very basic. Community organizing is building power with people, right? The main goal is to organize a group of people to really build power, ranging around any issues over an extended period of time, whether it's housing, whether it's schools being closed, any sort of thing of that aspect. So the axioms of organizing, or what I believe are the self-evident truths to organizing, is that organizing is you provide people with the opportunity to become aware of their own capabilities and their potential. Because any organizing effort always starts with the people. The duty of an organizer is to provide people with the opportunity to work for what they believe in. And what we do is we lead by pushing. Any sort of movement never is based around the organizer. It starts with a vision, and the organizer is behind the people pushing them to get to what they want to do, based off of mutual self-interest. Organizing or manipulation, right? And this is very basic. If you are moving people through their truth and your truth to understand what they're going through the process of, then you're organizing. But if you're moving them through an act of deception, obviously you're manipulating the people. Education, we educate people in order to organize them. We don't organize them to educate them. So that's pretty basic. And we win the hearts and the minds of the people. And so in order to win the hearts and the minds of the people, we have to necessarily forget about all the dry statistics that are happening in the community and all over. But what we do is we connect with them with our stories and how we live this out. And then from there, we can move others. People power, obviously the people have to be visible, and leadership. We develop new leaders and we push them into taking action by refusing to do it ourselves, and we provide them with the opportunities to become their own leaders. So, how does this work? This is organizing at its best, right? We all know about the civil rights movement. And so, they had a long strategic campaign, right? In 1955, it started with Rosa Parks, who got on the bus and, she said the famous words, "I'm tired." Well, I want to break the notion of her just saying she was tired from her days of work. That's not what happened, right? She was a very trained leader with the NAACP. She knew what she was doing. They had been planning for months and months and months. So she sat, and this particular day, she said that she was tired and she wasn't getting up, right? From then is when the movement actually started, which started the boycott, and they boycotted for approximately a year. And that's how Dr. Martin Luther King came into the picture of being the face of the movement. So how it grows and how it works is because of this one action, the energy builds and the movement starts to build. So then we had the cities in Greensboro at the lunch counter. We had the Freedom Riders. And the thing about the Freedom Riders is everything that happened, people in the movement wanted to make sure that all of these cruel things were visible, because that's how you build energy around the movement, right? When people are seeing that, at the face of what we do and at our core is we move around our values. And when you see that your core values are being taken for granted, then you also want to move, right? Then we have the March on Washington and the Civil Rights Act, which was passed in 1964, and then the Voters' Rights Act, which was considered to be actually the most significant policy in American history, apparently. But I do want to go just back to this a little bit because, when you think about all of these things that happened in the marches and right before the Voter Right Act, in Montgomery, there was the thing we call Bloody Sunday, right? where there were kids who were killed. All these were happening. And so this got the attention of, right, Washington. So because it's visible, it's in your face. The people continue to push and push and push. So why this worked? It worked because, like I said, the actions continue to build, and that there are various stakeholders committed to the movement, right? There were women, there were children, there were black, there were white, there were faith leaders, there were all different genders working together for a common goal and common faith. And the community was creating their power. So similarly, what we do and what we have done in Buffalo and how it moves and how it's been working is that last summer, East and Lafayette high schools were going to be closed, right? And the state commissioner was saying, oh, we're going to close them, we're not going to close them, we're not sure. So a group of people, the educational community said, we don't want our schools to be closed. It's a violation of what's happening. Our test scores have come up, our graduation rates have come up. Lafayette said, we have 47 different languages in our school, and so we can't be held accountable to this standard that they're holding to us. The faith community surrounding the school said, you know what, these are our students, our kids go to these schools, as well as the parents in the neighborhoods. And they came together and they did press conferences, they did petitions, they got together, and the schools were kept open, right? So that's a small example of locally. Also, in organizing, we're constantly committed to building. So we're committed to building leaders and building relationships. Organizing doesn't happen and it can't be consistent unless you're constantly building relationships with the people in the community and building our base, which is engaging in one-on-ones with people, figuring out what it is that the community is saying so we can be behind them. Okay, so developing peace hubs. So the development of peace hubs is a sort of a way to really think about sustaining our communities and what we're committed to. Sandy, you might be looking because you actually may be in this photo. Yeah, so this is a training in peace circles that happened in February with our group. And so the concept of the peace circles is that it's through a restorative justice process and mindset. And what happens is that if young people are picked up by the police or they're in jeopardy of being kicked out of their school, suspended, what they would do is they would go through these peace hubs and do a restorative justice process through circles that would initially keep them out of prisons and decreasing, obviously, our people who are being warehoused to the prison system. Because we live in a city where 14% people of color, but like 60% of the population in prisons in this area. So how it works is that, like I said, you do these peace hubs and it begins to restore the community, it builds the community. It starts a dialogue between the officers and the community and the stakeholders. And, oh, well, I have a lot of time left. So, but anyhow, so if you're ready to create change and join the movement, this is my information and Voice Buffalo's information. And thank you.